Hi, I'm John Rowland with Highland Park, and today I'm going to talk to you about the differences between a Highland Park saw and a Covington saw, and what makes a Highland Park saw a higher performing machine. So primarily what I'm going to focus on is the rail system and the vise and the crossfeed. On the Highland Park saw, what you'll see is we got a very heavy duty cast iron vise. We have two crossfeed rails and a crossfeed screw with a replaceable crossfeed nut. And there's a lock collar on this side, and on the other side there's two lock nuts, so you can adjust the side play of the crossfeed. We're on roller bearings on the rails, and the main feed screw goes down through the middle of the machine. So that was a 14-16 inch Highland Park. This is a 14 inch, I think, maybe it's 16, Covington. And looking at this saw, you've got one round rail for the carriage, a piece of angle iron here. The feed screw is sitting over here on the side, and looking at the feed screw, it's got this battery clamp feed nut, and one crossfeed rail, one crossfeed screw, not a replaceable crossfeed nut. Now, when you are feeding a rock through a blade, the most important thing is you want to keep that rock from moving. You don't want side-to-side movement, because that can make ridges in your stone, and you don't want it to be able to lift up and down. So looking at the Highland Park machine, if I grab the back of the vise here and I try and move it side to side, it's not going anywhere. Up and down, not going anywhere. There's no movement, slop in the crossfeed. When we look at the Covington saw, we've got up and down movement. Now there's movement between the vise and the carriage, which means when you come into the blade, it's going to lift up and it can tilt, because these bores here are pretty sloppy. Now they have some kind of adjustment here, but it's pretty small surface area. The one crossfeed rail doesn't give you much support this way. So then if I move the vise this way, it's just got slop. So it's up and down, side to side. And also the carriage, there's kind of an adjustment here. It's not really a great one, but this carriage, the whole carriage can lift up and down off the rails. So this whole thing is moving. Now the other thing is, this is the crossfeed. So if you set your crossfeed and the saw starts going through, there's nothing really keeping this from, creeping over, because it's just sloppy. If we look at the Highland Park crossfeed, this one needs adjusted actually, because I can see I've got some crossfeed, but I can adjust that so it's got zero backlash in it. So that means this thing can't drift side to side at all when you're using it. So looking at the feed, also in the feed nut on this saw here, if you look down in the inside here, this is the feed nut here, and it's got a release handle over on the right. So when you engage the feed, these two feed dogs come in and engage with the feed screw and then disengage. So that's the primary differences and the dollar values on this saw. It's a less expensive saw.